Hey, I'm Christina.
And I'm Angel. And we did our project on coal energy.
Coal is black or brownish black sedimentary rock. It's a non-renewable energy source because it takes millions of years to develop.
Coal is converted to electricity by being burned in a furnace with a boiler. The boiler water is heated until it becomes steam, then spinning turbines and generators to create the electricity.
The top producers of coal are Republic of China, USA, and the top consumers are North America.
Coal miners use great big machines to remove coal from the ground. There's two methods to remove the coal from the ground.
First is surface mining, which includes mountaintop removal. Surface mining is used to produce most of the coal in the United States because it's less expensive than underground mining.
Underground mining is used when the coal is buried hundreds of feet below the surface. To remove coal in these underground mines, miners ride elevators down deep mine shafts where they run machines that dig out the coal.
Distributing coal. After coal is mined and processed, it is ready to be shipped to market. The cost of shipping coal can be more than the cost of mining. It's usually transported by train.
Coal is normally stored in an outside open bin.
Coal and the environment. Coal mining has impacted the environment with strip mining. These mining operations remove the soil and rock, disturbing land at its surface. Emissions from burning coal produces numerous emissions that adversely affect the environment and human health.
The Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act requires industries to reduce pollutants released in the air and the water. Reuse and recycling can also reduce coal's environmental impact. Reclaim, which is putting the land back together like the way they found
it. Disadvantages of coal. Coal must be mined in strip mining runs habitats. Underground coal mining is dangerous because it caves in and explosions are common, which in turn cost many miners their lives. Non-renewable and depleting. It leaves behind harmful remains which harm the environment upon combustion. Mining of coal creates unstoppable damage to the environment. Coal will eventually run out. Here in the bag we have a piece of coal. Like we said, it's blackish, brownish. And now we're going to watch a video from America Revealed about coal mining.
Again and again until the whole thing is cleared of all the coal.
Correct.
And how long can you do that for? How much coal is there?
They say in the whole Powder River Basin, there's enough coal to last 150 years.
So this place will be around a lot longer than you or me.
Oh, yeah.
But digging it up may be the easiest part of the job. We're hundreds, if not thousands of miles away from the power plants that need it. So how to get this coal where it needs to go? Trains. But not just any trains. Some of them are 1.5 miles long. Carlin Vigil schedules the trains at Black Thunder. She's worked here nearly 30 years, almost as long as the mine has been in business.
We shipped our first train in December of 1977, and we were probably only loading a couple of trains a week at that time, and now you're looking at, anywhere from 20 to 25 trains a day.
This train is headed to a power plant in Montana. This one is on its way to Minnesota, Illinois, or Missouri. This one, as far east as Georgia or New York. And they all start out on the Joint Line. This 103-mile-long set of tracks has developed into the busiest stretch of rail in the entire country.
Hello. Our project is on hydroelectric energy. I am Joshua McElwain.
I'm Ebony Barnes. How does hydroelectricity work? Water is needed to run a hydroelectric power generating unit.
Advantages of hydroelectric energy. Number one, renewable. Hydroelectric energy is renewable. This means we can't use it up. However, there's only a limited number of suitable reservoirs where hydroelectric power plants can be built in places where projects are profitable.
Number two, green. Generating electricity with hydro energy is not polluting itself.
Number four, flexible. As previously mentioned, adjusting water flow and output of electricity is easy. At times where power consumption is low, water flow is reduced, and magazine levels are being conserved for times when power consumption is high.
Number five, safe. Compared to, among others, fossil fuels and nuclear energy, hydroelectricity is much safer. There is no fuel involved, other than water, that is.
Disadvantages of hydroelectricity.
One, environmental consequences. The environmental consequences of hydropower are related to interventions in nature due to damming of water, changed water flow, and the construction of roads and power lines.
Expensive. Building power plants is very expensive. Hydroelectric power plants are not an exception into this. On the other side, these plants do not require a lot of workers and maintenance costs.
Three, droughts. Electricity generation and energy prices are directly related to how much water is available.
Four, limited reservoirs. We have already started using up suitable reservoirs for hydroelectric power plants.
Largest producers of hydroelectricity. China is the world's largest producer of the hydroelectricity, and this can be contributed to three gorgeous dams. Yeah.
You said what?
Sign out.
This is Joshua McElwain.
I'm Ebony Barnes.
And we're out.
All right, I'm Joshua McElwain.
And I'm Adam Cannell.
And not only do dams provide energy for electricity,
They also provide water for irrigation.
we have a video to show you.
Completed in 1945.
The sheer size of this thing is incredible.
For California's food machine to work on the scale it does, it needs vast resources and monumental infrastructure. Right now, I'm flying over fine examples of both. It's giving me a bird's eye view of how America puts nature to work. To learn more, I'm meeting up with Shasta Dam guide, Sherry Harrell.
Shasta Dam is the keystone to the entire Central Valley project, and it makes it one of the leading producers of food and fiber for our entire country. Without it, buying a head of lettuce would be an incredibly big deal. We are actually now 428 feet from where we started up above, 174 feet above bedrock, and 67 feet past that concrete is Shasta Lake. There's over 450 feet of water behind that wall.
Wow. So if that wall disappears, you and I are swimming all the way down to Los Angeles.
A quick swim, too. Yes, absolutely.
Starting at Shasta with the Sacramento River, the Central Valley Project connects 20 dams and reservoirs through 500 miles of tunnels and canals, turning 42,000 square miles of desert into what is, in effect, the world's biggest greenhouse.
It's an extraordinary achievement in terms of technology and engineering and ambition. You realize how effectively and efficiently California has managed to maximize the one resource it never really had. What California has basically done is to turn dirt into pay dirt.
Hi, my name is Diana, and this is my partner Karen, and we did our AP project on energy, which is natural gas. What is natural gas? Natural gas is a fossil fuel formed when layers of buried plants and animals are exposed to intense heat and pressure over thousands of years.
The top producers of natural gas are ExxonMobil, Chesapeake Energy, and Anadarko Petroleum Corporation.
Top consumers of natural gas are Russia, Iran, and USA.
Some advantages of natural gas are that it can be considered a renewable resource, it can be efficiently and safely stored. Natural gas has low emissions, which make it more environmentally friendly, and it has 60 to 90% less smog pollutants.
Disadvantages. Although it is more economically friendly, it still creates greenhouse gas emissions. It's dangerous if handled carelessly. Leak detection is more difficult because it is odorless, colorless, and tasteless. Installation to use natural gas is much more expensive also.
Natural gas is stored in large underground reservoirs in three main types, which are depleted gas reservoirs, aquifers, and salt caverns. It can also be stored as liquefied gas.
Natural gas is transported through interstate pipelines across the country.
When distributed, it's distributed directly from interstate pipelines or any local gas utility companies to residential or business locations.
Future natural gas usage. The biggest concern with the usage of natural gas is the emissions it gives off. Methane is a main component of natural gas because it's escaping into the greenhouse gases. This could become worse in the future as more and more people keep using natural gas as the energy source.
And now for a short video on natural gas.
America was going to have to import more and more gas from overseas. Now, what the gas shale revolution has done is it's allowed America to think in terms of being energy independent, but that means going after this natural gas in somebody's backyard.
We're lucky that our nation has such vast energy resources.
Here's a quick presentation on nuclear energy. The pros of nuclear energy. Is a lower operation cost. It generates a lot of power. In future and exciting, nuclear waste can be reduced through waste recycle. Some of the cons include high construction costs due to complex radiation containment, high risk of accident. Waivers are required to limit liability of companies in the event of an accident.
Where are the top producers of this energy? USA is the world's largest producer. Who are the top consumers of this type of energy? France, 74.6%, Belgium, 60.7%, South Korea, 50.7%, Sweden, 45%, and Spain, 38%.
How will the environment be affected in the future? Radiation exposure remains controversial. The SECC claims that since 1928, the radiation standards have been made increasingly more restrictive as more is learned about the effects of radiation. How exactly does a nuclear power plant work? A nuclear power plant makes electricity so that the electric company can meet its customers' need. In a coal-burning plant, the furnace burns coal to make the steam that turns the generator to produce electricity.
How is nuclear energy stored? Nuclear fuel is typically stored in a nation's nuclear power plant in steel-lined concrete pool canisters. How is energy transported? Nuclear energy is transported by train or truck and it's later distributed.
The power is generated and then transmitted to transmission lines, then to a CPS energy stations, then finally to distribution lines and off to your home or business. And here is an example of a power plant. As shown in the video, nuclear energy is simply a way to boil water.
Can I have a boiled egg?
Hi, I'm Kyla.
Jared.
Hi, I'm Fernando.
And this is our project on crude oil. The top producers of crude oil are Russia, Saudi Arabia, the United States, and Iran.
The top consumers of oil are the United States, China, and Japan.
The advantages of oil is that oil is the most abundant energy source. Liquid form of oil makes it easy to transport and use. It's relatively inexpensive, and no new technology is needed to use.
The disadvantages of oil are that burning oil leads to carbon emissions. There is a finite amount of oil available. Oil drilling endangers the environment and ecosystem. And oil transportation, mostly by ship, can lead to oil spills causing environmental and ecological damage.
The way it affects the environment in the future is that CO2 emissions from burning of oil leads to globally higher temperature. And also, oil, when it's dug up, it can harm the environment by polluting the water, and it is highly flammable. Oil spills are very bad for the environment.
Minimalizing negatives. The negatives of acid rain and CO2 emissions can be minimized through conservation. Also, if we develop the technology to ensure full combustions in the productions of usable oil, then less carbon dioxide would be released into the air.
Oil is distributed and transported by ship most of the time, and when inland transportation is needed, trucks are used. Crude oil is stored in barrels in large refineries.
And next we have a video for crude oil.
What is crude oil exactly? It's a mix of different hydrocarbons of different lengths. These molecules contain both hydrogen and carbon, and they come in all kinds of sizes and configurations. Depending on the mix of hydrocarbons, you might hear someone call a kind of oil light sweet crude or heavy sour crude. Heavy crude contains more larger molecules than light crude. Whether it's sweet or sour is determined by its sulfur content. Sweet crude has little to no sulfur. Now, we don't use oil in its crude form. We refine. That's how this works. Starting with the grab bag of molecules, you heat the crude up until it turns into gases. Then you pipe those vapors into what's called a fractional distillation column. As the vapor rises, it cools, and different substances, depending on their boiling points, condense into liquids. So up near the top, you've got gasoline and kerosene with lighter molecules. And then down near the bottom, you've got lubricating oil and heavy gas oil. There's some more processing to finish off the products, but that's the basics. So what comes out of it? Let's break down 1 barrel of oil, about 45 gallons. The largest fraction becomes gasoline, 19 whole gallons. An additional 11 gallons become diesel fuel. But you can't forget jets. 4 gallons of every barrel go to aviation fuel. After that, you start getting into a bunch of weird yet still valuable stuff. Petroleum coke, liquefied refinery gases, asphalt, lubricants, and other feedstocks.